Cine Papis.
And welcome to another episode of the Cine Papis. Eddin Martinez, Jaime Fernandez, Mike Diaz, Juan Bago.
Hold on, Eddin. I just want to do my little Walter Mercado preparation thing right now. Yeah, I just want to Okay, I'm good.
It's a speed version of it, right?
Yeah.
I think we're all one together today.
Mm-hmm.
We're feeling like a bond.
Yeah, love.
Like a lot of love.
Yeah,
a lot of love.
A very mystical bond.
Mm-hmm. We're going a little bit beyond the horizon today.
Yeah.
Because we're talking about a very interesting documentary. We're talking about Mucho Mucho Amor.
Mucho love.
Mm-hmm.
Have you done the mucho?
We don't have to keep talking in this slow marathon.
I don't know.
Mike, we're not doing it. We didn't plan to do this the whole show.
We're not doing the whole episode?
No, did you plan? Do you want to
You want to just talk like this the whole time?
Is that your thing for the
All
first?
right.
We're doing Mucho Mucho Amor, the documentary, the Netflix documentary about Walter Mercado.
Walter Mercado. Icon?
Icon. Puerto Rican icon.
Puerto Rico?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, you are. Forgot.
I'm half, yeah.
You forget about that part?
Yeah,
I do. I feel
Should I just be half, happy about it?
No. I honestly always think he's Dominican because he grew up in Washington Heights.
I did grow up in Washington Heights.
And he's loud like a Dominican. So
I actually grew up in Inwood, which is a block. I'm a block away from technically Washington Heights. But
okay, still.
people always want to
still count you.
Still.
Yeah. No, I still.
When the fireworks happen during July 4th, you hear them very loud.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I hear them.
Yeah.
From Inwood. Yeah. I'm like, damn, you people in the Heights, you need to
Everybody shut up.
shut those M80s off.
You be calling 311?
No, hell no.
That's how I know you from nice.
He did a delay.
I did a delay, but those are for the people that that raise the rent, raise the prices in the neighborhood.
Jimmy was like, wait, I called 311, but not for that.
Yeah. What do we call the people that move in?
Gentrifiers?
Gentrifiers.
Yeah, the gentrifiers, they 311 the hell out of that area because it's they're paying a lot more for their apartments than the people that have been there for a long time.
A lot of those people have a lot of anger, but right now today we're talking about love.
Very chill.
Very chill. Right, we're talking about love. A lot of love. A lot of that's the gentrifier way to say it, to name the documentary.
A lot of love.
Did you see a lot of love on Netflix?
Yeah,
about Walter Mercado. What is it? So what made us want to talk about a documentary, which is
it's one of our first documentaries that we did here on the show. Walter Mercado is also just known as one of the biggest or the biggest Latino astrological icon ever.
Yeah.
I feel like for me at least growing up when I was in elementary school, I remember getting ready around 7:00 in the morning. There would be we met in Pacto and everything like that. But then sometimes Walter Mercado ads would come through and I would see that and I'm like, who the fuck is that funny looking dude?
Yeah.
With the big blonde hair on TV. So seeing that is where that resonated for me. I don't know how if your families were big with Walter Mercado or anything like that.
Your mom your mother had to be into
I mean,
Walter
I think
Mercado.
mothers, aunts, I mean, I think he was just one of those iconic, when you grow up, there's a lot of iconic people or characters. So it's Big Bird, right? Michael Jackson, and I think Walter Mercado is up
Bird.
there.
I would have never thought you would
There's
start
Big
off.
Bird and there's Walter Mercado.
I didn't know you would lead with Big Bird.
No, meaning as a kid. That's what I'm saying. I have images as a kid, and a lot of those images have Walter Mercado and his beautiful capes and his, like you said, his big hair. But I don't always pinpoint where I saw him. So yeah, you're saying my mom used to watch, but I'm I feel like I just saw him in just random
times,
random people's TVs, my friends' parents' TVs, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
I didn't have a family member either that was glued to astrology like that.
Yeah, nobody was. He's the number one thing that you could just leave on in the background.
I mean, for me, I know that when I used to visit my grandmother and at the time when my aunts were living there, I would remember watching it. But he also just became international. So even white people and just general audience knew of Walter. He was up there. He was one of the most famous Latinos.
Well, he looked like one of the Golden Girls. So I think they probably thought he was a new Golden Girl.
The Puerto Rican Golden Girl?
The Puerto Rican Golden Girl who just moved in
and
for one season.
Miami?
Are you guys big in astrology at all?
You know, I'm accused.
Oh my God.
I'm accused.
Mike, do not downplay this. Do not downplay this. Mike, now.
Damn it. Why do you have to be my co-host to call me out? You know me too well.
I want to hear it.
I think it wasn't because of Walter, but I think I was really heavy into horoscopes when I was like a teenager.
Really?
And as I got older, I don't know. It was just one of those. My sister to this day is still one of those like, just like for work, she'd be like, I just fired a Gemini, but they deserved it. I'm like, damn. Anytime she talks about a coworker, it's with the horoscope sign with it. She's like, freaking Capricorn. So I had to fire them. I'm like, damn, you're firing them based on their horoscope signs.
But to give my credit, he uses like his love of horoscopes and astrology as a way to kind of network and talk to people. Because every time I'm around him and he's talking to somebody, you'll be like, "You a Virgo, right?" And it's like, and that gets them to be like, "Yeah." And it's like, I knew you were a Virgin. I could tell. I could tell, like, just from the way you like. And they're like, "Oh my God, like that's so crazy you said that." And then they have a conversation, and I'm like, "This is a perfect way to like just like be social." And he's the master of it. He's a master of it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's always the weirdest thing of networking for me is that when anyone does try to call me out for what my astrological sign is. Like if like, oh yeah, you know what? Oh, my birthday's in September. Oh yeah? Oh, so you're a Virgo, huh? I hate that. I don't know why. Because it's also just, I feel like it's almost amounting me to whatever they want from
especially
what they see
the negative
online.
attributes. Yeah, the negative attributes.
Well, I'm a Gemini, and that always gets negative. Every girl's like, "Oh my God, my ex was a Gemini." So
every girl tells me that ex was a Virgo.
Everyone's ex a Gemini. What the fuck?
There's only like 2 Geminis I can deal with. No, 3. You, your nephew, and my dog. That's it. All the other Geminis
Is your dog
I can't.
a Gemini?
Yeah,
My dog's a Virgo.
Yeah,
That's
so
funny.
I can't. That's it. Like those are the only 3 Geminis I can.
But what about
tolerate.
what do they say about? What do they say about Cancers?
We're super sensitive. I mean, if you're around me long enough and you see how Jamie makes fun of me, you can see I take it personal.
No,
so
Geminis and Cancers sometimes do. They're known to like sometimes clash.
Absolutely, yeah.
Well,
apparently, they're the caregivers of the zodiac when it comes to Cancers. They're homebodies at heart.
Yep.
You're intuitive.
Yes.
You have a protective shell.
I do.
Do you have strong family ties?
I have a look at that
fucking shell.
He has a literal shell.
You literally have
an actual shell.
An actual shell on his shoulder.
I was coming at my boy Hector because he wants to get a scorpion tattooed on him.
You'll let him.
He's a Scorpio.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, why?
Scorpio men.
They're creative souls. They're fiercely loyal.
Who's this? Scorpio?
This is
No,
this
it's
is
me.
Cancer.
Oh, still with you? Don't interrupt while he's talking about me.
You're fiercely loyal. Okay.
Listen, like, we could talk about Geminis real quick. They're social butterflies.
When I want to be. When I want to be.
Yeah,
Masters of communication.
Yeah. You're very articulate. You're very articulate.
But when I want to be.
Restless energy.
Yeah. You'll see his legs shaking.
I'm restless right now.
His legs are gonna shake soon.
I can't believe this one. Playful and humorous?
Yeah.
No. Jamie?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
Quick learners?
Not with technology.
Youthful spirit?
Not with technology.
Yeah.
Youthful spirits?
Yeah. I mean, look,
And one thing is very true. That's true because when you meet my son or even my dog, you're like,
that's nice.
Well, no, that's the thing. I do the whatever with the kids or pets. I do.
You're amazing with them.
I can't do that. I can't do that. I cannot do that.
And I become a youthful spirit automatically.
Yeah.
Like, and they like to know kids. I usually, when kids have their little like play sets, I'll play with like my nieces and nephews.
You'll go into their world.
Yeah, and I'll be like, hey, I'm cooking you a fake burger, and they'll be like, thank you.
And you're like, delicious.
Let me talk to your manager.
It's like, don't eat that. That's not real. That's not real food.
For Virgos, they said service oriented. Organized thinkers.
Oh, okay.
Critical thinkers.
This is you?
Apparently, yeah.
And so, do you agree? Do you agree?
Shy but observant. I kind of agree. Modest
shy?
and humble.
You're shy?
Listen, can we?
I can be shy.
Look, but can we?
For
Let's
sure.
get to the nitty gritty where there's a lot of friction. You got to look up the negative attributes for all 3 of us, and that's where people get defensive. And Jamie gets defensive when you talk about the negative.
I don't get
stuff.
defensive, bro.
Well, we can start with Cancers real quick. Moody and sensitive.
Yeah.
Overprotective.
Yeah.
Easily hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you have a do you have
Especially in group text. Group text messages.
Yeah.
Do you have a pessimistic streak?
I do, but I balance it out being a realist. But yes.
But then at the same time, you avoid confrontation.
Well, yeah.
You're overly sentimental.
Yeah.
And resistant to
cries
change.
all the time every time he watches.
Yes.
And then what about Geminis?
Gemini. We could spend a whole episode on that.
No, hold on. I got you right now. Indecisive?
Yeah. I don't know.
You're wishy-washy. For sure you're wishy-washy.
You got it, right? Indecisive. Okay.
Two-faced reputation?
That I don't believe. Because that's like the most like stereotypical, you're a two-face.
I believe.
And we all have two faces, but I'm not a two-face where I'm deceptive. You know what I mean? I feel like when they say two-face, it's like, I'm nice in your face, but I'm like a dick,
I can believe this one. Inconsistent energy.
Inconsistent energy.
Yeah.
Well, that's where your coke comes in.
I feel like he goes up and down a lot.
Yeah, that's why he needs coke.
I
to keep him.
do. No, because I can be like big and whatever, and then I can also be like, leave me alone.
I'm taking a bath.
I'm not. Yeah, I want to be alone, and don't talk to me for the whole weekend.
What about this one? Commitment issues.
Well, I mean, that's not just look. Okay, I don't know. Maybe can we edit this part out? No, but I think commitment in a lot of facets of life. I mean, everybody's gonna be like commitment issues in relationships. I'm talking about sometimes committing to anything, like committing to like going out on Saturday night, to a movie with friends. I'm like, I don't.
He would know better than I would.
I'll let you know. I'm gonna let you know, guys. I'll let you know like Saturday at 6:55, and they're like, but the movie starts at 7:30 on Saturday.
That's 45 minutes. You also try to like plan the rest of the day with your group, so like it's not just the movie.
No.
Yeah. Well.
No. Let's go. Let's end it with you.
For me, yeah. So, perfectionist pressure. Yep. Reserved and guarded. Yep.
Ooh.
Harsh inner critic. Definitely. Judgmental moments. Absolutely. What does that one say? Overly critical.
Sexually adventurous? Yeah, definitely.
That's not a negative.
No, that comes up as a positive.
All right. Sorry, we're doing negatives. Okay.
But wait, before we go into the actual breakdown of the movie, can I give you guys your horoscope of the day?
Of course.
Yeah.
Wait, do you have a cape?
No, I wish I did.
That would have been so good if you had a cape.
But just work your hands. Though.
Yeah. We'll do Jamie's first.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Which is a Gemini, by the way.
I didn't sign up for this.
Ooh, you ready?
Yeah.
If you know you've wronged another, admit it immediately, Gemini. People are often quick to point out when others make mistakes, but it's the rare individual who points out their own mistakes. Demonstrate that you're strong and honorable enough to say when you've done wrong. Integrity will get you far in life, whereas deception and retreating from difficult situations will not. That's for you.
Thanks, Psychic GPT.
You feel it? Wow. This is actually horoscope.com.
Oh, look at that.
Which could probably
see
also,
how that is, He hears the truth and he's like, no, whatever, that's fake.
Well, it's not over yet, Cancer, because you may feel a great urge to dive headfirst into a project.
Okay.
Perhaps there's a plot of ground that you want to turn into a garden. Dig your hands into the soil, and maybe there's a craft or art form that you can't wait to learn about and develop. Be careful that you don't start too many different projects and leave them all unfinished. That's actually kind of sick.
That's crazy.
That's what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
That's actually kind of. And then I guess one of you want to read it for me?
Jimmy, go ahead. Read.
Okay. No, I can put two laptops in my lap.
It's not the first.
But you got to read it in the.
You got to do
the thing.
You got to do your tone of voice.
Virgos?
Yeah.
Your words will flow smoothly today, Virgo, and you certainly won't lack things to say. Conversations about higher learning and greater spirituality are likely. You may be more aggressive when it comes to getting your opinion across, but that's good.
Okay.
It's important that you make your position known so others know where you stand. Together, you can come up with something greater than you could alone.
Wow.
That's actually kind of...
and your battery's low.
Okay. Yeah, my social battery or like, which one? Which one is it?
All your batteries.
All your batteries.
Yo, let's just
charge them all just in case.
That's crazy.
It's too late to rebrand our podcast. I
know.
this.
Astrology Papis?
People are like 20 minutes in, they just been talking about like astrology.
Fast forward.
It's okay. It all makes sense.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Look, I liked this movie, and I sort of wanted to see this movie because I remember I watched it originally during COVID period in time, and it was just amazing because Walter definitely. I've done a sketch. I mean, I've done a couple of live sketches for our sketch group at Room 28 back in the day, and I did another digital sketch, and it was just something where I love horoscopes and I love what he did and what he stood for. So it was definitely an emotional hour and a half of watching this.
Same.
Like I was like choked up for a good portion of
You
it.
did a Walter Mercado sketch where he played like it was Walter Mercado as like a detective, right?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Shout out to Jerry. Jerry and I did that. We were being psychic detectives. But that's why I sort of gravitated to this doc.
Yeah.
Ju?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of things that I didn't know about Walter Mercado and his life, and I also didn't know that he just wasn't in the public eye since like 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
So you just think that he's somewhere doing horoscopes somewhere. Like I'm just like I probably don't have that cable channel. But he's been like a hermit, and they say in the documentary he's kind of a hermit. So I was curious because I wanted to know more about Walter Mercado, and I liked the documentary because I learned a lot of things about him that I didn't know, other than what we just thought.
Whatever you see on TV.
Whatever you see on TV.
Outside of the cape, outside of the hair, outside of the eyes, outside of the music, but that's all I knew about him.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more like the ups and downs of his actual life.
Yeah.
That were interesting. Eddin?
Yeah. No, I mean that's really it. I'm with both of you at the same time when it comes to getting to know about Walter Mercado. Even though this came out in 2019 and 2020, so basically the year after he passed away. Spoiler. But like.
That's spoiler. It's like a real thing that happened.
Yeah, right. But yeah, no. I mean, I don't know. Let's get into the breakdown of the movie. Yeah, please.
Of course, with the beginning of the documentary, sort of like a lot of the documentary started with, you see the present time as far as like his influence, all the stuff that he was in, and that gets you caught in right away because it's like, yes, that was him in the element, and then it quickly goes to where his upbringing when he was in Puerto Rico, and then I know there was a moment in time when he was a kid, there was certain foreshadowing signs of his abilities. Like I don't know specifically what it was.
He was born in Ponce, Puerto Rico, and I guess the situation was that there was a little tiny bird that was like kind of passed out or unconscious or dying or dead, and then he was like, and it's funny because they showed like all in animation, and he was like, "No, little bird, like you're not gonna die today." He blows on the bird, right?
Pause.
Right, pause, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the bird suddenly comes back to life, and someone sees that from afar, and then they're like, okay, this kid is someone special. And then that's when like the neighborhood kind of starts seeing that and wants to actually come and touch him and stuff, which is
almost like a magician. They probably were
like a prophet kind of a thing, which is a little freaky.
Which is interesting because when you think about it, like sometimes you become an adult and you have these things. He already had it from young that he saw that he has some of these abilities and the thing. And then as time goes on, you see that he was taking on dancing, which is so crazy when you think about all these skill sets that made Walter, you seeing it, you taking acting, he was doing the acting, he was doing the dancing, so he knew how to control it. All these things that we don't see it in a blind eye, are like what makes somebody captivating on television. And he had the fluidness with the hands and his acting ability. So
and he had like the perfect bone structure. When he was young, it was like, he definitely needed to be
symmetrical.
Yeah, he needed to be photographed or someone needed to be on film or on camera or something.
Yeah,
like that.
so you're seeing his beginnings, and he was becoming an actor, and then it got to a point where he was doing if I'm not mistaken, there was a point where someone was like, he on set would talk about horoscopes, and they were like, bro, you should do like a segment on horoscopes. And that accidentally got him to a point where he would talk about it, very low production, but he was just doing it, and he was starting to build up. And we go into seeing how he continues to scale, and then we meet Bill. His last name was
Bakula. No relation to Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap fans out there.
So then you see this guy Bill, who's really well put together in present time, talking about Walter, seeing that he's like, yo.
He kind of looks, Bill Bakula kind of looks like a bad Ray Liotta impersonator, right? He was like, hey, I knew Walter. I already knew he was gonna be bad news, like from the beginning. Yeah, I was like, I don't know if there's a bad guy in this documentary, but I already don't trust this guy. Like, I was his first manager. And I was like, this guy's gonna fuck him over.
Okay, so you're opposite, because for me, when I saw, I was like, wow, okay, cool. The way the documentary was set up, I'm like, wow, this guy's like, I saw something in him. I was like, I can do that. I was like, okay, cool, because I'm not unpacking how would they have somebody that you end up, foreshadowing not.
I guess maybe just to kind of see how things could change so fast. Especially when it comes down to a business. As much as he believed in him, I think he also saw the money coming from him, and to give him the opportunity meant something. But then to even overtake things that we later find out is where it's important.
So we see that Bill has a vision, and he's like, all right, I like what he's doing, but we could scale this up. Let's do 10 episodes of 1 hour, package it together, look really nice, and instantly becomes something that becomes really big, especially in that period in time, because like I said, there was a void in that space, and when you're talking about somebody with his skill set, where he's just like he's just oozing this charisma.
Well, he has that charisma, and he also has that it factor of like, I need to see what this guy does next. It's like he has it. And
that's the thing about it. Like with horoscopes, is like you have 12 signs, and throughout the show, you feel at certain point of the show, he's talking to you. And we're talking about back then, where it wasn't like how it is now, where you have on social media and it's very specific. But back then it was unheard of. So he right away is blowing up, and they're picking up a station, and then he's doing radio. So then now he's doing radio, he's doing television. He starts to scale on another level because of Bill and Bill's vision. And it's getting to a point right now where he's huge. Like, he's just a mega star. And then once
does he have his own Saturday morning cartoon show?
We had to look into the Marquitos.
Yeah.
The Walter Marquitos. And so then what's fascinating, because if I'm not mistaken, in the time he's scaling up, now people are doing parodies of him. Like, there's people they have sketch shows, and they're impersonating them. But like, and I'm not to say that like the 70s and the 80s were a certain way, but it was a certain time in culture where you don't know his sexuality. Right. You don't know how to sort of pinpoint it. But when they're doing parodies, they're doing someone was very low-hanging fruit. They're making him gay. They're making him a certain way. And I think that was a turning point in a way where there's sort of like the way people are like looking at him in a certain lens. And it was one of the moments that I really felt like when he was on a show, they're interviewing him, and the guy who's impersonating is right there, but Walter's the first one to call him out, and is like, I wouldn't wear those pants. Right. Like, that's not an outfit what I wear. So he's almost like, okay, you're gonna impersonate me, go all out, because it's cheap in the way that you're doing it, and it's not a certain thing. Any thoughts so far as like where he's at in his career? Like, I think he once he crosses over, like that Howard Stern interview was big, because that's Howard Stern in his heyday, like in his prime. And Howard can easily, the way he was, kind of drill him. It could have been in a negative way, but he comes out even more popular the way he did the interview with Howard Stern.
What struck me watching the documentary is, like, he speaks English great. Like, he has that thick accent, but he's using the biggest words. He knows how to describe things in a way. And I think sometimes when you have someone that has an accent, you immediately, assume, oh, okay, he's going to have trouble sort of like going to an American market. But he was ready. Like, he went to, they show clips of Howard Stern, but he English and or Spanish, you got the Walter Mercado experience, like in any of those two languages. I don't think he knew another language. But
I was gonna say a big aspect too for him transcending across, like, not just the States, but internationally was him doing his hotlines, like him being able to get into different markets. Having, obviously, he's not going to be the one to always pick up every single time, but with dealing with horoscopes and stuff and dealing with different languages, that's where it kind of worked out. And it's his image. His image was huge.
It's the self-confidence too. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's always a period in time when you're an individual where you get confronted with pushback, and he just untethered. Like, you just can't put him in the box. He had that self-confidence, and it was like his assistant, Willie. Right?
Yeah,
Willie Acosta, he said it. It was like he just put a layer of like this protection. Like, anything you say to him will just slide off. I mean, he was hired because he's always aligned with positivity. Like, you're not gonna come with any negativity. He always said it. And his former manager said it. His assistant said it. It's like everything was positive. He never did any horoscopes with any negativity.
And he also, anytime somebody like maybe wanted to, in interviews, when somebody asked him maybe like a gotcha question, like, what is your sexuality? He always had an answer that didn't make it awkward, but he never answered like straight up. He would be like, somebody asked him if you were a virgin. He was like, I have sex with life.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's...
I think it was on the set. I think during his interview.
It's like, I guess we have to accept that answer, but I mean, the way he does it, you're like, okay, moving on.
It's true, because if like the way he said it, but if someone asks you, I had sex with a flower, with the carpet, with everything, it's like, it'll come out completely different. Like,
I have sex with nature. He could say it, but we're like,
I'm fluid.
I mean, I have sex with nature, though. And they'd be like, what a pervert, yo.
But, it's crazy, because the consistency of him being such a trailblazer for everything that he has done, like, to get to a point where you can really be the horoscope guy and be international, be that big. He's one of one. Like, you can't compare it. Like, you can't say, okay, this is the blueprint. Let me take that and let me run with it. It's like, he is just like one of one, and like that's how he scaled. It is interesting in that period in time, because the 90s became the 900 hotline. Jamie did different types of 900 hotlines, but there was other ones where you had the Jamaican.
Some people say erotic talk. Right. I mean, to me, it was just kind of like keeping it real. You know what I mean? Like, we know what we're here for. We know what this phone call's for. So.
Do you guys mind if I play like a quick audio from
one of mine? Oh no,
not from one of yours.
Like, how'd you get that?
You copied when he was on. What's up?
It's just a little excerpt from the movie. They talk about it.
Las runas te dicen la verdad.
We were the only ones in the Hispanic market in the U.S., and we were the pioneers to go out of the U.S.
Me gané $9,000 en el bingo.
Saying she won $9 million in the Indian bingo.
Gracias.
Actually, in Brazil, he's not
this was the thing
really
that was
known as Walter Mercado. He's known as Liga Ya.
Liga Ya. That was the craziest part to me.
It's called now.
Yeah.
Liga Ya. Liga Ya.
I loved that part from the documentary. Liga Ya, because they didn't call him Walter Mercado, because all you would see is him on TV presenting like the hotline, and then just saying Liga Ya.
You knew you were up late when you saw one of those
type shit. Yeah.
Infomercials.
Type shit.
The psychic infomercials. I'm like, damn, it's already 2 a.m. Shit.
Yeah. Hotlines aren't really a thing anymore now.
They're not. I mean, like I said, in the 90s when it started, because who was the other psychic lady that
Miss Cleo.
Miss Cleo, but she got caught out, right?
She had a whole...
all of them were like, I mean, even though the Walter one, that wasn't on the up and
that
up.
was the only problematic thing from his aspect that I saw, is that, I mean, again, obviously a business is a business, but you could have someone. It's like damn, I don't want to say what I want to say, because that might hurt us in the future. It's more of just of the fact that you could put someone there.
You don't want psychics to be
who's not really a psychic. There's a very known mental health
Dr. Phil
application that people use now, and not everyone who uses that is actually a licensed therapist.
Ooh, I love the way you navigated the waters.
Fair? You get it?
Right,
you get it?
I'm coasting. Nice. Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah. But hey, if you want to be a sponsor in the future...
we weren't talking about it.
We weren't talking about it, but to a similar light, I can't imagine that they were all actual psychics or anything like that.
Well, that was the one minus I had with Walter in the documentary. Like, he's super charming, funny, great on camera, always on. But when they briefly talked about the Psychic Friends Network, they were trying to blame everything on the manager, saying like the manager kind of talked them into doing the psychic friend stuff. And then when they asked him, Walter was like, but there were some people there giving good motivational advice. No, this was a rip-off. That Psychic Friends, any of the psychic networks, you know, $25 a minute.
Crazy, by the way. And $25 a minute?
Yeah, I mean, it fluctuated, I guess, but I know there's some that were in that range. I know the first minute, it's like drug dealers. The first minute's like $1.99, and then every other minute after that is like $25.
Wait, what drug dealer do you have?
Yeah, what drug dealer do you have?
I got a gram of weed, but the first is gonna be what is? How does that even? But wait,
you know what I was gonna do.
Listen,
you know what I'm gonna do.
I know what you're gonna do, Eddin. You're gonna see what $25 in the '90s is today.
So $25 a minute, right?
Yeah.
In 1990s, today is worth $61.49.
Wow. Yeah. Oof.
I mean, and I could just subscribe to OnlyFans for that.
$61.49.
$60 is like 4 months worth. Not that I know, but I think.
You know, depending on the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I was like, he was trying to defend that still, and you know he knows that was BS. And he kind of went along with it. He's an adult. Like, you can't blame the manager for everything, right?
Right.
But that's kind of what a manager's for, though.
That's kind of what a manager's for, right?
Yeah. To blame?
To blame.
I know. Yeah. But I mean, if you get caught out there and you're doing something that kind of is ripping off people and is not authentic.
But was he because I think Chloe,
he put his name on it.
Yeah.
Cleo.
But was he ever caught? I don't think he was ever caught up on that. It was
but it wasn't nothing. It's not illegal, but it's just kind of like
ethically, it's not the most biggest thing.
Yeah. And you have a lot of his fans are like, oh yes, it has Walter's name on it. Yeah, but he's not the one giving you the advice,
right? Especially when you have like a bit of a Christian influence behind things. Which was another aspect for me with Walter that was weird. Was like there was a huge sense of glorifying him. I understand. I mean, especially in the modern day, I don't think this would exist as well as it did. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I get it though. But because he had like a white face, colored eyes, blonde hair, almost like Jesus, like presenting to some people.
Which Howard Stern said. He's like, you're bigger than Jesus?
Yeah, type shit. Like that was the thing to me that also set me off a little bit.
And he was very loose with his sort of religious... He took like the best part.
Which is kind of cool. I'm not gonna lie.
Is. Will Smith does that too. Will Smith said one day, he was like, yeah, I take Buddha. I take stuff from Buddha. I take stuff from Christian Scientology.
I mean, he made a good point. He was like, look, there's no religion that has complete ownership of God. Like, there are certain aspects.
Oh, there's some people that don't believe that. Oof.
Is that's Eddin's inner voice coming out?
No, because I'm just thinking of certain people I know that would be like, who would hear something like that and be like, "Excuse me."
Boop. Yeah. So wait a minute. So we're talking about the manager. Tell us the part of the breakdown where things start breaking down.
So, but we talked about how he's scaling up.
Yeah.
Like, once he's going all the way there, then there's a point in time where his manager Bill presents a contract, and Walter's like, and they show that he's like, see, está bien. Like, he never pushed back. He never said no. He was like, okay, if you're in my circle, I trust you. You can we'll go on and we'll flow with it. Signs the contract. Come to find out that his image, his name, everything is Bill owns it, and so like he didn't know that at first. And it got to a point where, you know, once he caught wind of it, it became a thing where it's like, okay, wait a minute, I'm not making any money because Bill stops paying him. So on top of that, he owns him. He stops paying him. So there's this like battle that's going on, and that ends up where he disappears for 6 years because he literally can't. And some of these opportunities he had, they're like, yeah, we can't mess with you right now. Like, you're dealing with this little situation here where you're not owning any of it. And that's sort of where the fallout begins. And that's where Bill starts to change, where he sort of, some ways, tries to defend himself, where he's like, look, the guy signed the contract, it is what it is, he's making money, but how much? Because you're owning everything. And then once there's this stoppage of it, and remember, he's making all that money with the hotline and all that, he's losing millions and millions of dollars.
And every time during this part of the documentary, anytime they went to Bill, he was all business about it. Yeah, it was business. When they went to Walter, and the family, it was more of an emotional component to him. He was like, he was in tears talking about how that relationship was affected by everything because he actually trusted Bill. And Bill used to, in the documentary they say Bill used to kind of like always buy him lavish gifts.
Oh, that's part of the plan.
And so he buttered him up, and so
with the roses.
It was interesting. Like Bill's like, yo, it's business, and Walter didn't take it. It meant more. That relationship meant more to him than it probably hurt him more than even just the money he lost.
But were you then surprised when it got to that point where how Bill was in present time too? It almost like he had no regret.
He said that
weird.
No, he never showed. He never showed that he loved Walter in a way, in anything more than just like a meal ticket. And Walter seemed like he loved him like, I don't know, a son, a brother, I don't know, but
I think he loved the opportunity that he gave him.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make Walter Mercado a bad person for, appreciating someone's talent for that? No. But that's where, is it Bacula? Bacula? I don't know how to say that. Bacula, like, ethically, I wouldn't go with that route. I wouldn't want to sign someone to a contract to make sure I get, their likeness and their name and hold them to that, and then obviously not compensate them. That's fucked up to me, right? I'm not surprised that there's a world where there are people that are so literal that they don't care. They only see the profit and or the business, that they're like, you know what? He signed his name. Why am I wrong if he did that? Which in a technicality, he wasn't wrong because they didn't look it over.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And I was kind of looking up for a second of how that kind of happened, right? Because they had their original agreement in the 1990s. But
he probably had his hand over like the top of the
right?
contract.
Like,
just sign here. Just sign here. No, don't look.
But it's funny, right? Because then Walter's lawyers did see, they read it. They just overlooked that part. But that's also a weird thing on the lawyer,
that's true
right?
Too, yeah.
So the original agreement was to cover publicity, business deals, and expansion to the hotline, to merchandise, and media appearances. But then the problem clause was the exclusive permanent rights to Walter's name, image, and likeness.
Everywhere in the universe and forever.
And I guess Walter wanted to do other projects and stuff, and he was like, no, you can't do that. And he's like, what do you mean I can't do that? And then when he realized that, that's when things like what you were asking, where the breakdown really started breaking down.
Well, look, let's hear from the guy himself. Bill Bakula's live on Zoom. We have him up.
Bill,
what do you have to say for yourself?
Oh, actually, I didn't get to tell you guys, but I signed a contract before we got him.
No, damn it!
Yeah.
Eddin!
Yeah, sorry.
Come on! You just saw the documentary!
Yeah, we can't really use Juan Bago or Jaime Fernandez or Eddin Martinez anymore.
We'll figure it out. We'll talk about this after the show.
That part of the movie is where it really hits me as an artist, because I'll be honest with you, like the business and the contracts and all those things sort of is not my strong point. I like to focus on the art, but to see someone that iconic, that big, that powerful, to fall victim to that goes to show you that
anybody
and it shows
he's a superhero to some people because he has the cape to go along with it. They said it in the documentary.
He didn't have the legal cape.
Yeah. But it goes to show you how pure he was, that he had that blind trust. Like he could have just been like, let me see, be a skeptic and double check. But he was just like, yo, where do I need to be? I'm there. And I think that those and I know there was a part of it where he had the car service, he had the private plane, so all these things.
And I love the private plane. I love that.
Please tell me if I'm being problematic.
Okay,
right.
You are.
You're right. He was a genuine person. But he also was very close to his family.
Right.
Yes.
Why did no one take extra look? He was with all his cousins.
He had like 20 nieces.
There
were like 25 nieces. In the documentary.
Shout out to them. I saw in the documentary were such big supporters, big lovers of him. Said some of the most amazing things.
But no siblings. They're just talking to the nieces. I'm like, does he have a sister or a brother? Where are these coming from? Where did they come out of?
My thing was like, why didn't they? I mean, I guess it's so far off of their time. To check that stuff, because again, they did sign in the 90s. It's just unfortunate. It's just like I would hope that there was even Willie, right? If he was around him all the time.
Yeah.
But I guess there was so much trust with.
Yeah, but Willie's in the dry cleaners. He's getting the capes. He's getting the capes cleaned up.
It just sucks. I would hope, I guess.
But nobody in the documentary just said what was
Walter, let me
obvious.
see that contract. Oh, snap. I'll be right back.
Nobody in the documentary said what was like literally was obvious. What kind of psychic are you that you didn't see this coming?
Oh my God,
Hello.
Jamie was holding on to that.
Yeah.
No, I was holding on to that while I'm watching. I'm like, is anyone gonna like? This is the elephant in the room, bro.
He ain't that kind of psychic. Well,
He
no,
ain't that
I mean,
kind of
kinda
psychic.
that
He was in a
psychic.
psychic friend. He had a network called the Psychic Network.
Yeah, Walter Estrellas.
Oh, Jamie.
Dude.
I'm not gonna
Let's
lie.
continue.
He's not wrong.
Let's
So is there a happy ending after all this chaos
Sort of,
in his
right?
life?
So the contract thing happens, and funny enough, he gets all his stuff back, all the name, and then he has a heart attack.
Yeah.
2 days after he gets his name and everything back. And that was where the turning point where the family is like, oh my God, he's not invincible. Like we could have lost him.
Con mucho, mucho dolor.
Yes, mucho, mucho. Of the heart, yes. So the documentary shows the recovery from that. And so like there were moments where like, but he never comes back though. So you see him trying to get back, and then around that same time, there's a boom on the culture as far as psychic and the social media.
Millennials.
We bringing that back and that being
Memes?
Memes.
Are you just throwing out?
No, the documentary was like the meme. Everybody uses Walter Mercado memes.
Yeah.
Millennials are wearing his merch.
Right. So I think that around that time you see the popularity of that, and then you're watching him getting ready. This is where you're transitioning to the point where he's getting ready for the show that is happening in Miami.
There's a museum is doing a tribute show for Walter Mercado with a lot of art and sculptures and everything. It's a show all about Walter.
But it's crazy because you're showing how he's aging, and part of the thing you're seeing is he's not the full energy, and he's very protective of his image of being full of energy and full of life. So it's such an interesting thing, and there's a bigger picture of how like our favorite artists and favorite people, when they're getting to a certain age, they want to keep that image of prime Walter. So you see that, and then preparing for it, he falls and gets hurt, and then he falls again in the bathtub, and he just shows that his spirit was like, I'm not gonna show up to this show. It means a lot to me, and he really wanted to show up because it's 50 years from the original time it comes out, and you see where he's starting to really accept the flowers and understanding like, damn, I've been doing this for 50 years, and you're seeing all of that, but you're seeing him at an age now. It's like, all right, well, you know, we may not see him back, because he even gets asked like, yo, are you gonna come back on television? He's like, we'll see, we'll go with the flow. But you see the later age, but it's just fascinating even that, like, even when he was getting ready at that age, he just knew when to turn it on. Like, especially when the cameras were on, he was always on. Like they had footage of him in bed, and he couldn't really move because of the fall. But once he saw a camera there, he was like, oh, his eyes light up. You know what I mean? He's ready for his close-up, as they say. The quote that stands out, and it was so true, is like, how do you prepare? And it's like, you don't rehearse to be yourself. Like, this is me. Like, I don't need to rehearse. And they're like, once the camera is on, this is who I am. And I mean, again, like, there's just so many symbolic and so many things that I got out of this documentary. Being an artist, aging, protecting the image, who you are. Because, it's like we see this, and I'm not trying to pivot to sports, but it's like even where our athletes, where they like get to a certain point where it's like, are you gonna retire? Like, this isn't the Jordan.
That's like LeBron every year.
Yeah,
every year.
But it's like Jordan on the Wizards. Like, yo, this is the guy that I saw in the prime, and he's not the same prime Jordan. It's the same thing when I was watching Walter, where it was like you saw in his prime, where it was just like he looked at the camera and it was on, and now we're seeing him there. But
that part is just. That part is so crazy to me, though. Like, how he never turned it off. Like, that was... Though I feel like there's always different bubbles. As you learn that in psychology. There's different bubbles of people and whatever. And there's your really inner bubble, which I can only imagine what Walter Mercado's inner bubble looked like. But not turning...
Pause.
Sure.
I don't know, just
I think,
inner bubble. I don't know if I want to see anybody's inner bubble.
No, that's cool.
No,
I respect that one. Yeah.
No, you
that's actually a good one.
Yeah.
But like, seeing
Not without consent, at least.
Yeah. Thank you.
You saw his bubble?
You saw his bubble?
Wow, he got trust.
But like, as an artist myself, like that struck me hard because I'm like, yo, I don't know. I know when to turn it off for me, right? When these cameras are on, it's a little different, right?
Well, Eddin walks off without saying a word to us.
Right. I just go, where's my fucking latte? But then even when I'm DJing, it's like, I get on the stage or whatever, or be in front or in the booth, it's like, there is an on-off switch in a sense, but always on is weird.
Always on. Well, I mean, I think...
But some people really like him, he really had that.
Yeah.
Like always on.
But the people close to you see you when you're not on, and I think his assistant probably has seen him just like not being Walter Mercado, maybe just being, or not the Walter Mercado we all know.
Right.
And so let me say this, we're at the end of the documentary. But the end of the documentary also leads me to one of my facts and furious facts.
Ooh.
Because the filmmakers thought that this documentary was gonna solely be documenting Walter's public comeback.
Yeah.
He had been on the spotlight, all these. It became like a swan song type of documentary.
What does that mean?
Like what? Last hurrah? Like...
kind of a last hurrah because he passed away shortly after filming. So they didn't expect he was gonna die when they did this. He wasn't like he didn't have a disease or anything. He just died. No,
I think he died from like liver failure or something like that.
Right, but I mean, I don't know if they knew that. Like they were just filming like, oh, this documentary, maybe we can bring Walter Mercado back.
Right.
Maybe we can help with this comeback. And kind of like the Pee Wee Herman documentary that just came out, where that documentary guy, the guy who made that documentary, didn't know Pee Wee Herman was sick. And Pee Wee Herman passed away before they even released it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then you watch that documentary and you're like, wow, Pee Wee Herman was full of life in this documentary.
Yeah.
This could have been another stage of his career.
Yep.
Same with Mercado, even though he was like 80 something years old, you could have seen like this documentary sort of bringing him back.
For a little bit,
in some way. I don't know. Maybe he'll be on Twitch or something like that.
Oh,
of course. I don't know. It might not be a TV show, but it might be something like, TikTok.
Walter streaming?
Yeah, you
That's
follow.
ridiculous.
I'll follow his TikTok.
I hated that so much.
Yo,
But by the way, I really want to say this.
Yeah.
I've never heard of Swan Song before in my life.
A swan song, it's
a person's final public performance or personal or professional activity before retirement.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's so apropos. Have you heard of apropos before?
No.
Okay. It's so apropos that this documentary, like he passed away just like maybe 2 months, 3 months after the tribute at the museum in Miami.
I think 3 months.
You
later?
can't write that. And that's what I love about documentaries sometimes I don't love that he passed away.
That's
but
not some other spiritual thing. Like he knew. He was like, all right, this is it. I mean, he's probably not going to make it, maybe Willie knew, right? We don't know.
People probably knew he had some sort
because
of
remember, he had fallen twice and he was really getting to a point where he was getting a little weaker. But who knows?
But even he was like, I'm going to live till I'm like 150. Like he believed that
that part was interesting. And backtracking a little bit about you talking about age and stuff, right? He was like, I turned 50 and then that's it.
Yeah.
Like he was like, I don't turn older than 50 in this realm. Like even though clearly he passed away when he was like 80, whatever.
Yeah.
Don't ask the age. After 50, it's 50 and
I thought it was
50
interesting.
plus.
Yeah.
I was surprised that he seemed to be afraid to talk about death.
I know.
Anytime they mentioned in the documentary and they asked him about death, he kind of didn't want to talk about what he thinks happened when you die.
Jorge Ramos, right? Remember Jorge Ramos?
But there was a couple times in that documentary.
That was one of.
He mentioned reincarnation. He believed in that.
But when the scene where he goes and they're going into the cemetery to see his parents, he's like, I'm so depressing. Or he didn't like to talk about death. He didn't want to think about death. Interesting. You would think someone would be a little bit more open with the way with the things that he talks about.
I guess because that's the end, and he rather talk about what's ahead.
Yeah.
Once you're at the end, you're at the end.
I think he maybe felt that if he accepted, like, sort of wanted to talk about death, that he's sort of like surrendering to like that, and he wanted his spirit and his light.
His whole thing was optimism.
Yeah, to keep the light going. So he didn't want to even touch that topic of the end.
Some other facts and furious. Mercado reportedly owned 1,500 elaborate capes.
Damn.
Some weighed up to 20 pounds. And some were covered like in crystals and pearls, as you saw.
There was some customized ones.
Customized from like
made him one.
Versace, Mizrahi, Oshkosh Bigosh.
Wow. H&M.
Stuck that one in.
This is from Oshkosh Bigosh.
Fashion Nova never got
They made
into
an
it, right?
adult line just for me.
There was no
Fashion Nova never made one for him?
He didn't live long enough for Fashion Nova.
No
That would've
Shein
been really
version of
good.
it?
What?
Shein?
Shein.
Wow, that would have been crazy with a Fashion Nova one. Okay,
H&M
Fashion
would have been a
Nike?
Zara.
Yeah.
Zara.
I like
Yeah.
Zara. I always wanted to have
A cape.
Okay.
not a cape. I wanted to be a kimono guy. Have you ever seen kimonos? They're very comfortable looking, and I've gone to many Chinatowns in the country. I've been to San
Wait, you're
Francisco.
tall. You're tall.
New
So
York.
You
kimono
go like
would
a
work.
Chinatown tour? What is it? San Francisco, New York, Houston.
Yeah, I like to
No,
visit.
I'm not interested in can you just take me take me to the Chinatown?
I like to visit any city's Chinatown, and there's always like kimonos for sale, and I'm like, do I want to
Like
get
Jamie in this.
Oh no, I can
Yes.
see Jamie in that.
Like
Right,
kimono?
grow your hair out, put a little bun, and then it's perfect.
It looks comfortable to me, but
No,
that
very.
would be my
Kimonos do
version.
look comfortable, yeah.
That would be my version of capes.
Okay.
I don't know about y'all.
Damn, I don't know.
I would keep it at home though. I wouldn't go out.
I'm more of a kilt guy. I would have liked to wear
You
a
wear
kilt.
kilts?
Yeah, kilt. The not skirt, but
With the way
Well,
that
kilt
you
is-
man spread, you're not
I
wearing
mean,
a kilt,
you can't
bro.
wear a kilt.
We learned recently that Mike is a big man spreader.
I wear spandex. Trust.
Spandex is crazy.
Any more facts and furious?
The last one, the directors, Christina Constantini and Kareem Tabsh. Tabsch. That's why it was hard to pronounce.
Tongue twisters right there. It's back to back.
Tabsh.
Tabish.
They grew up watching Mercado with their grandmothers, and they recall, they would recall how his segments could silence an entire Latino household. So the fact that the directors, I thought was pretty cool that they grew up with the way we grew up with him, and were able to tell his story at the end. And we, there was a scene with Lin-Manuel Miranda in the documentary, and he kind of outwardly showed that he was a fanboy, and getting to meet Walter was like freaking him out. Like, he was like, I don't know what to do right now, So it does show that there is even a younger generation that got Walter Mercado, that picked Walter Mercado up from their parents. Also are like, this is somebody that means something to us, even if we don't really can't quantify how. Like, I can't quantify why he means something to me, because it's not like I watched his shit. I never binged Walter Mercado. You know what I mean? Like, now we binge everything. It's like, I just know he was always in he was even in the dentist's office TV. You know what I mean?
Crazy part.
So that was interesting. And so the directors have that. And then one last thing, the documentary uses animated sequences created by artist and filmmaker Alexa Lim Haas, and they were inspired by Mercado's favorite tarot deck.
Wow.
So the animated stuff in the documentary,
That was a great touch.
Yeah.
That was a great touch.
Great
It filled up
touch.
some of the stuff, especially in the first scene when he was a kid. Having that. Do you guys have an unpopular opinion?
Eileen?
I mentioned it a little briefly behind the scenes, but I did
look at the
think
smirk. I know that eating smirk. He's up to something.
No, I mean, it was just I think it was the whole him signing that deal thing. That was a little to me, because I'm like, that sucks, and unfortunately he didn't have the right representation to kind of guide him there. That's probably the most unpopular opinion I got, because it's just kind of like, damn, that sucks. You have all these family members, you have Willie and etc. But as we were talking about it during the ep, I realized it seemed like a lot of things happened really fast for him. Because though he was like, he got into theater and the arts, then he went to go do the promo for Telemundo or whatever, and then next thing you know, the next day he's already doing his start of Walter en las Estrellas, and then it transcends into him getting representation, and then it transcends into him getting a higher production value of it. Then the hotline. So much happened so fast that for the fact that he was truly a man of the art. Yeah, it's just such a shame. Yeah, that such a thing happened to him, but it explains his absence. And I think you mentioned that earlier, which was like, what the fuck happened to him? Like, where'd he go? Yeah, did he just kind of turn? Well, even though he was kind of a hermit, like he just disappeared. Yeah, but of course, like all the shame and heartbreak from such despair and I guess dishonesty is just what took him away from us. It's so crazy, the timing of the heart attack. It almost felt like once it makes sense. It's like that, all that energy, all that stuff that was building, like a release. Yeah, the stress, the millions and millions of dollars he lost to legal suits and stuff.
And technically, he had a broken heart, to be honest.
Yeah, for real.
And it probably that's how it.
Because he couldn't even like really interact with his fans when you think about it. Yeah. His whole name and likeness is gone. You can't do anything. Even a public appearance, I can only imagine what clauses you're messing with your contract if you're doing something like that. So I guess my unpopular opinion is that I just wish someone looked that over. My unpopular opinion.
I would say that's a popular opinion.
You think so?
I think most people would want someone to look that over for him. Yeah. That's true. One of his 20 nieces could have just looked that shit over.
They came a little later. So that's where I'm like, I can't blame them because they were probably maybe not born, or maybe they were far away from this whole thing. Yeah. So, yeah. My unpopular opinion, maybe there's a world where he's got the next Walter Mercado. Like, that's so crazy you say that. You know how like they had Young Pope, the series with this guy in there? Like maybe there's a new protege that's going to be coming that Walter can kind of oversee and be like, this is the guy here. But I don't know. That's complicated because he's a one-on-one. But that's why it's unpopular. I feel like there could have been the next Walter.
He's also, but he also seemed just private and he didn't have that many people in his inner circle. So I don't think he would be someone's mentor. I would also, if I'm Walter Mercado, I'm not trying to get another one. Like, it's me. True. Yeah. And that's it. Because, and though, I mean, he had his camp of sidekicks, but it wasn't built to be a team. But that's so funny you say that, because I was telling my sister about Walter Mercado. I'm going to butcher this name, so kill that for me. Because, so this dude right here. Oh, yes! Is technically a little bit more of a modern Walter Mercado. Well, I'm going to butcher it too. The Nino Trujillo, yes. Yeah. But he's actually, you remember, you've seen this guy. He's kind of like the next guy, and I'll put an image here, by the way. Nino Prodigio? Prodigio, right. He's like kind of the next one. The comments are going to be crazy the way we're they're going to be like, how dare you? Yeah. Yeah, like. His fans are going to come at us. Right. He's like, I mean, if you look at the imagery, from the IG that I'm showing, like that's his thing. Like he has kind of almost like a certain look, a certain face structure. Yeah, and then it's really all about the face structure. This is actually a modern version of it. Yeah. That I don't know if it'll be Walter-esque, because I feel like now with the culture of astrology and things like that, there's so many. First of all, even subcultures about it, right? Yeah, of course. Because what rose up heavy was it's not only now, that I'm a Virgo and Jamie's a Gemini and the Mike's a Cancer, right? It's about what's your rising, what's your Venus, what's your blah blah. There's sub levels. There's so many other things now. Now it's the years. I remember one year that it was a thing that was like, they're actually all wrong. It's actually a whole different thing. There was a time there was a 13th. Yeah, that came in and they pushed it. They were like, no, you're not a Cancer anymore. You're actually a Leo. It's weird. Because it's a new one. You got pushed in. I was like, that makes sense. Yeah. No. But like you said, my bad. Do you guys have an imposter? Do you have an unpopular opinion actually? Do you have an unpopular? I'm sorry about that. My unpopular opinion is that Mike keeps skipping me over for unpopular opinions. Wow. That's not unpopular. That's actually... I mentioned my main unpopular opinion was that I think Walter should have been a little bit more. They should have been a little bit more critical about his involvement in the Psychic Friends. I don't think he was that innocent about that, and so. Don't play dumb with me, all right? Yeah. And my second one is that unpopular opinion, or it might be popular. I think he should have gone back into telenovelas. Oh, okay. Because they mentioned he did smoke it in that. Part of his acting experience was he was doing telenovelas for a good amount of time, probably like his I don't know, mid to late 20s or early 30s. And I'm like, yo, you were out of work for how long? Just put him in a freaking telenovela. Play like somebody's like very flamboyant grandfather, abuelo or something, you know?
True.
True. Or tío or tía, I don't know.
Either way, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
And he didn't have to go by that name. He could have just been like what Prince did, like the formerly known...
The symbol?
Oh, yeah, the symbol.
Yo,
he could
I
have done a
think
symbol.
That would have been
an actor again.
That would have been must-see TV.
Okay.
So I don't know if people, maybe his fans would be like,
I like that.
no, I don't want him in, I want him to continue to do what he does. But I would have watched it. I would have binged that.
Yes.
That's good. That's
You
good.
know?
But yes, you were saying you're imposter of the week.
I mean, I can start out with definitely Bill.
I mean, I think that's mine too.
Bill's easy.
Yeah.
Bill's like, that ain't, you ain't about it. Right?
Yeah.
You were just from jump trying to make money. So that's my imposter of the week.
And it's the biggest thing about Bill too is that this whole documentary, it's like Walter really only knew his assistant, like his family, and Bill. Like there wasn't a lot of people in his whole life that he could count on his hand. The people that really
They were so consistent.
were so consistently in his life,
Yeah.
that he trusted and was close to. And one of them was Bill, and Bill stabbed him in the back. So that's the biggest tragedy of all, I think, in the documentary. And it took a lot of years of his life. It was 6 years fighting to get his name back.
Crazy.
Imagine you can't use your effing name.
You can't make no money from that.
And he
you
was
can't
at
be
his
mean with
peak,
nobody. Yeah.
too.
He would have
It's not
peak.
one of, like,
And he
was
took,
it-
No, I was gonna say money too. He didn't get his money.
No.
He should have been like I don't know about a billionaire, but he could have had like 3 mansions, and he could have had generational wealth.
He probably still got some stuff, and I would like to hope to think he saved some of that money, but I can only imagine how much it hurt him, like health-wise, or all the stress, and of course financial. So I'm glad we could all kind of agree on the imposter. But what about our MVP for this one?
Jimmy, you can go.
The MVP, I mean, again, I think this is another unanimous, is his assistant.
Is Willie? Yeah, okay, cool.
Is Willie.
All three of us are going to agree
Yeah.
to that.
Again, he doesn't have that many people in his life.
Yeah.
And Willie was always there. And I think especially I think he appreciated Willie as he got older and more isolated.
Yeah.
Because at that point, who's going to be there when he falls in the shower? Who's going to be there? It's what a lot of older people have to like deal with. You know, they might feel alone. They might, and not everybody is going to have a caretaker. So the fact that Willie was there till the end, I thought that was a really special part of the documentary.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to just copy you, but I agree, like 100%. And you could see it, and to have someone as a rock there from jump, it was you could tell like he needed someone like that in his inner circle. So I agree with Willie.
If I could add one more MVP, I want to say it was Eddin Ortiz, which was the woman who, when they did have a last minute cancel guest at Telemundo Puerto Rico, they did ask Walter to fill in for airtime, and that's where he improvised the astrology segment. So if that didn't happen, then they would have never really revisited that, and he wouldn't be Walter with con las estrellas and etc. And he wouldn't be the Walter Mercado that we know today.
Crazy.
I mean, he could have been probably the telenovela actor that we all know today, or movie actor that we know today. Because regardless, he was a star amongst everyone.
He was destined to be something.
sort,
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And shout out, we didn't mention that he did a lot of segments in the show Primer Impacto.
Primer Impacto.
And
Crazy.
that was a big part of his rise of...
Which is a small world. Shout outs to Maria Lopez Alvarez, which was our former boss when we did Latinos Out Loud in Revolver. She was the co-creator of that show.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and she was. They spoke with her. She got interviewed in the documentary, but that was her show and decision too to get him involved in the show, which is dope.
That's cool.
I think it's time for ratings.
Yeah, our PAPI
The
point system. Every week
point system.
we do our PAPI point system where we give a rating to the movie that we did for this week, Mucho Mucho Amor con Walter Mercado, and we give her a little flair of it, and we invite you guys to please let us know what you think about the movie and give your PPS of the week. I actually give this documentary a 4 you're gonna hate me because I'm gonna just cheat, but 4 capes out of 5.
Damn. I mean, that's
the easiest one.
Yeah.
So I actually texted you guys after I watched it, and I actually teared up during the movie because of the fact that he was who he was, and that was a big impact. And shout out to all my peeps in the LGBTQ community and stuff. Like, that was a huge thing. That was a silent battle that he had, right? Even though, of course, people would make fun of him, and there would be a time where making fun of him because he was extremely feminine was a big thing. I think outside of that, him as an artist, a performer, like that is something I strive for as a person in front of this microphone, as a person on my editing bay, as a person in the DJ booth, like being that strength of a performer. And then even having the look is insane to me. Getting a look, having a look, that's a lot of effort. Like, don't be fooled by anybody you've seen who has such a look that is an artist. Like, that is not easy to come across. So to be able to have such a formula of him to do all that, and I feel like the documentary did him a lot of justice, and unfortunately showed that bit of downfall that he went through, his rising, and the fact that they were able to showcase that he had that exhibit 50 years later, so from the premiere of his show, is incredible, and that he got to see that and be honored one last time before his passing. Fire. 4 out of 5 capes for me.
For me, I'm gonna give 4 out of 5 muchos. So,
okay.
I agree, but I think
mucho.
piggybacking on what you're saying, in these moments of where they confront about his sexuality and everything, the way he stood his ground, and we saw the people that spoke in the documentary, how inspirational that was. They got courage, they got the power from that to see someone like Walter to be on television and be that famous and then stand his ground. That even when we saw clips of them not making fun, but like in bad taste, some of the impersonations, he stood his ground and kind of made them feel smaller because they weren't being truly authentic when they were impersonating him. That's big. Like that, there's no measure of how powerful that is, because you have people who are inspired. Think about it, you're watching Walter, and at any moment if he falls and crashes, not because of the business aspect of it, but everything else, that affects. And the fact that he stood his ground from the moment he was on this earth to when he passed away, that new generation that we're talking about right now has been inspired, and he inspires so many people to this day. And so for me, again, from the moment I'm watching the beginning clips, I got emotional myself, and then to see how pure, what it taught me was all these skill sets that he learned along his journey in the novelas, the dancing, the movement, the camera work. That's what was so brilliant, because the average person that watches it is like, yo, he's so mesmerizing. Like, how is it? He knew it because he was working. And then, like I said, the moment in time where he has a chance to go in and do the horoscope, but because he had all those skill sets, he was prepared and ready for that moment. And from that point on, so 4 muchos for me.
Oh, my rating is $3.99 per minute. Which is basically a 4.
Okay.
Wow. 3.999.
So you gotta leave the one, you gotta have the 99.
So you want to do a $3.99 out
I'm
of 5?
gonna do $3.99 out of 5.
I'm not mad. There is no rules. There's no rules.
First minute?
So what?
We're all psychic friends here.
So $3.99 a minute out of no
out of 5.
$3.99 a minute out of 5.
Out of 5 minutes.
Wow.
Got it.
Wow, very clever.
How long was the movie? Out of 90 minutes?
Yeah.
This is Cine Papis. This is a Latino icon. Like, they made a documentary about a Latino icon, and it was, it was well. It probably could have been done 10 years before. Yeah. And Netflix, whoever pitched this to Netflix was really, they were fortunate in the sense that they got the way everything, obviously he passed away, but the way the story kind of lined up with, like, just kind of finding out about his life, his beginnings, the height, and also, again, on the Latino tip of him being a Puerto Rican icon and just not being able, like, what was shocking watching documentary was that him coming out would have affected his career.
Yeah.
He wasn't hiding, like, he was flamboyant, and yet if he said the words "I'm gay," he would have lost fans, and that to me was shocking. You know, what one of the people interviewed said that he was embraced and othered at the same time.
Yeah.
And you know, again, that at least, and even now, but back then, especially in the Latino community, that was the case. You couldn't really be your true self in certain communities and Latino communities, and the people that were fans of him, he probably would have lost fans, and it was just like, I don't.
And that's with having so many other flamboyant icons around the same time, like a Juan Gabriel, like a Liberace. Like,
but there's such a disconnect there. I'm like, do you not put two and two together, but you just don't want to hear it? And there's that saying, Eddin, that we were talking about.
Lo que se ve no se pregunta, which is Juan Gabriel.
What you can see, what you can see, you don't ask about.
Yeah, what is
And to me, that's just a crazy like saying that you know what I mean, but it's just kind of like we don't talk about that.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the gay guy in the church choir that nobody wants to like. You know, he has the best. He has the best voice. For you? Yeah. The best voice. He's very extra with it, but nobody wants. No, he's a good kid.
You just let him go. Yeah,
and
he's doing his thing.
Why don't you find a girl? You need to get yourself a girlfriend.
Why'd you go so southern with it?
It's always a southern. It's always a southern.
Yeah.
You need to find yourself a boyfriend, Chauncey.
Chauncey is sick.
Okay, it's very specific.
But again, that was interesting on the Latino side of it, and also just we get to really. Again, I really loved finding out a lot about his life and not just so much things that I didn't know about the betrayal and him being a hermit now, and I feel like we lost a lot of years of some prime Walter Mercado because of the everything that led to him being stuck in court for 6 years and losing his name. And I think that's the worst thing. I think Bill Bakula did. He went from his angel to his devil, but it was like he took Walter away from us, from the masses, from his fans, and from the Latino community. And again, it's always great to celebrate Latino icons. And I'm glad this documentary was made, and I'm glad we got to talk about it on the show.
Mucho Mucho Amor, the Legend of Walter Mercado. Go check it out when you can. It's on Netflix. We gave our PAPI Point System rating. Don't forget to give your version of it down in the comments below. And you guys already know this has been another episode of the Cine Papis Podcast. Eddin Martinez, Jaime Fernandez, Mike Diaz, Juan Bago, and we'll catch y'all next time. Okay, hold on. I brought it back. We're back again only because we forgot to do the one part that we should have done, but which we could just do the very end of it. So with what, guys? With Mucho Amor. It's three of them, damn it.
There's three.
What did I do?
Mucho.
Okay.
Okay, hold on, ready?
But let's keep that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people make that
ready?
mistake.
Con mucho amor.
Cine Papis.